So this is called Talk to Me with Huffington Post, and I'm Charlotte Laws, and this is my lovely daughter, Kayla.
Hi.
So what would you like to ask me, darling?
Let me think. Tell me something you've never told me.
Have I ever told you about the time that the stranger gave me $7,500, no strings attached?
No.
Okay.
What happened?
I was living in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And I was pretty young. I think I was 16 or 17 years old. I was on vacation staying at Caesar's Palace, and I'd been jogging down the strip. So I had on my jogging shorts and my shirt and my little waist pouch thing and my tennis shoes. And so I'm going through Caesar's Palace, and this man, probably in his 60s, stops me and said, I just won $13,000 gambling. I'd like to buy you a diamond bracelet, no strings attached. And I'm like, come on, you know. Oh. So he takes me to the gift shop at Caesar's Palace, and he buys me an $800 diamond bracelet. Then he says he wants to go gambling. And, you know, I'm even underage, right? So he's walking around the casino, and he's gambling, but every time he gets money or gets chips, he's stuffing them into my waist pouch, like giving them to me. So it's like, and I was just so in disbelief this whole time. Then he says, I want to buy you some clothes. And he asked the guy that's with him, who happened to be the head of security for Caesar's Palace, who was escorting him around during all of this. And the security guy says, oh, well, there's a gift shop, a dress shop here in the hotel. So we go to the clothing store, and he buys me $4,000 worth of clothing. Wow. And then we walk out of the store. I'm still like in shock, right? So we walk out of the store, and then he says, well, that was really fun. Thanks a lot. And I said, thank you, you know, and I give him a hug, and I went back to my room, and I had all this stuff, and I cashed in my chips, and so it was about $7,500 total, and I poured everything out on the bed, and my aunt was with me, and she goes, I wish I was young again. And that was has I never told you that before?
No.
Wow. Yeah, I had a lot of very unusual experiences.
Did he never even ask for your number or anything?
No, it was no strings attached. I mean, It's just like this sweet guy that...
What a nice guy.
Wanted to be generous.
I would have been interested as to, like, who he was and what he did and, like, why he was there and what made him want to gamble and, like, what his story was and how he won. I don't know.
I was just going along for the ride.
Okay.
I was like in shock.
Okay, buy me stuff.
What the heck? But yeah, Vegas was like that back when I lived there. It was a very unusual place, and it was very different than it is now, because now it's a family kid place. Yeah. But it was a really bizarre place back in the late 1970s, 1980s. So anyway.
Interesting. Cool. Oh, well, lucky you.
Do you have any other questions for me?
Let's see. If you had one wish for me, what would it be?
I sometimes feel like you do things because you think that it's something I like or something I approve of. And I really want you to be more of
No,
you.
That's definitely something I used to do. More so recently, I have not been. That's why now I've been sticking to my guns.
Yeah, I think it's very important.
But I do understand why you say that. I think because you're my mom, like, your approval is super important to me.
Mm-hmm. But I know that, like, for example, this is because my husband is very, like, sometimes he can't make a decision about should I buy A or should I buy B. And I always say to him,
I always give him the answer.
Yeah, but see, that's not him making a decision about what goes with who he is. And so when I'm making a decision about A or B, I say to myself, what is more me? Yeah. You know, what is something that is something I would do or something that is like me? Right. And that's how I make a decision. And I want you to do the same thing, because I do feel like you try to please other people sometimes, like me, too much. And like you pick a guy to go out with, I want you to pick a guy you really want. I don't want you to care about my opinion. I really don't.
That's a funny
She doesn't believe it, but it's true.
Anyway. No, I appreciate that. Definitely, more so in the probably past year, I have definitely stuck to who I am more so. And I've actually been noticing you've been copying things that are true to me. Like this dress.
Never.
This is a clothing store.
I did do that.
This is a clothing store that I loved. And now all of a sudden her whole wardrobe More than what I
not
own.
my
Not
whole
the whole wardrobe. A lot. She all
like
of a sudden
4 dresses.
She went on a shopping spree and bought all the stuff that I would have wanted, and now all of a sudden I don't want them anymore because my mom has them.
I am guilty. I have to try to do that.
Tables are turning.
That's true. That's true.
Let's see. Oh, I have one. If you had one role model for me, who would it be?
Well, it's the person I respect the most in the world, so you're probably not going to be too surprised. It's going to be Baruch Spinoza. You're going to roll your eyes too. I just knew that. And the reason is because it goes back to the last question, is because he's very true to himself. And he's a 17th century philosopher from Holland. He lived from 1632 to 1677, and his views were considered radical or heretical. For example, he supported the idea of democracy way before it was popular. Everybody was into monarchy. So he was, and he had to fear for his life because this is the time of the Inquisition, and yet he was still very true to himself and had his own belief system, which he formulated and he stuck by. And I want to see you do that. And I'm not saying you don't do that, because you do that definitely on many levels. But that, I think, is important, and that's who I would say would be the role model that I would choose for you, or for anybody, to be honest.
You also have to keep in mind that you raised me. You're the one who really shaped who I am.
Yeah, and also genetics is 70% of who somebody is. So
Exactly.
Environment is 30%, genetics is 70%.
And my environment has been you.
Experts. That's true. So she's completely shaped by me. It's totally my
So,
fault. Everything is my fault.
You could also say that, I guess, that about the witches back in the day when they were burned at the stake.
Yeah,
they were true to themselves. They believed what they believed, and they had to hide it, from everyone else.
But they were
true to themselves.
But a lot of people repented.
Beliefs.
A lot of people they didn't think they were necessarily witches. They were called witches, but they weren't. They didn't really think they were witches. They were just
right,
and they were burned at the stake. And
right.
A lot of them repented because the leaders of society wanted people to confess and say they were wrong in order to reinforce the mores of society, because the leaders were very afraid of losing power. And so they would want you to repent and say, I was wrong, the leaders are right, and then they'd still kill you. Whereas Spinoza, all the way to his deathbed, he never changed his view. For example, he did not believe in a personal God. And even on his deathbed, they said, well, you're going to die now. Do you want to change your opinion? Do you want to say there's a God? And he said, no, I don't want to do that. So he was true to himself all the way to the end.
Kind of what they did to Trump about, would you still run Republican? They asked him, remember?
Would he still run
Republican?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Or would you still support a Republican if he didn't win or something? They gave him a second chance to change his mind.
He's changed his mind a lot on that issue, which is okay. I support
side
that
note,
too.
Sorry.
Anyway, so any other final questions here?
What's the biggest lesson that you'd like me to pass on to future generations, or that you'd like for you to pass on to future generations?
I guess I would say the two things that I think are the most important are perseverance, which is the key to success, and other-centrism, which is the key to happiness. And by other-centrism, I mean helping others. Humans, non-humans, whatever it may be, but putting your heart and soul into a cause or multiple causes. And you're actually very good on that, because
I'm actually better than you in some respects.
Well, we're both animal rights people, and we both put our hearts and souls into helping animals whenever possible. And you're very good. And she's been very consistent on that. You've been a vegan all your life, and she rescues stranded animals, and she does all sorts of things.
And she gets mad when I bring random dogs home.
Sometimes I do deny. But
then I find them homes.
That's true. So you're doing a very good job. And she's really got perseverance too. You're going after your career and sticking with it, and I'm very very pleased about that. So
Thanks.
Anyway, did you want me to ask you any questions? Did you want to reverse it at all and have anything you want me to ask you, or we'll do that next time, perhaps?
Maybe next time.
Okay.
Maybe you'll find out all about me next time.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.